Yo, Aztec Warriors! Today we're going to go into why runners need good hip stability, as well as how to check if you have good hip stability, and finally, 4 exercises you can do to increase your hip stability. All right, let's jump into it. Woo! All right, guys, before I go into demonstrating the different exercises and how to increase and check your hip stability, I want to first explain why you need to have good hip stability. I'm sure a lot of you guys have had runner's knee, which is just pain in your knees when you're finished your runs. What tends to happen is you're finishing and you're walking like an 80-year-old crippled man. And the main reasoning for that is if this is your knee here, you have some kind of instability either lower, which would mean that is at your feet or ankle, or higher at your hip support. And the main reason is if you have weak hip stability, what tends to happen is your knee will track either outward or inward. And your knee should be tracking nice and in line. So if your hip stability is poor and your knee tracks either out or in, typically if it tracks in, this is where you see people's feet where they tend to like have their feet flailing outward. And then afterwards, if your knee is tracking in, this is where some of you may experience where you kick the inner shin of your other leg. If you have poor hip stability, your knee is going to be tracking either in or out, and what tends to happen is you get runner's knee. All right, guys, let's jump into it. So I want to iterate that there's multiple reasons as to why you would get runner's knee, but I really want to emphasize on the hips. You want to keep your knees nice and in line, because if your patella or kneecap tracks side to side, that's where you're going to be having those pains. So if your hip flexors are too tight, what will end up happening is that your knees will track outward and your feet will track inward, as I'm demonstrating here, and you can see that that puts a lot of strain on the knee. Now, the whole emphasis of this video is strengthening those hip flexors, and this is what will happen if you have weak hip flexors. Your knees will cave in and your legs will be flailing outward. So again, you want to keep those knees nice and in line so that you do not have any kind of pain and your runs look sexy. There you guys saw, it's the single leg squat touch, and here I'm just pointing out to raise your one leg, and then after there's bend at the knee and opposite hand goes to opposite foot. And I'm going to be showing you from a couple different angles so that you can see that you're doing this properly. And this is mainly a test of your balance. Your balance is a great way of showing if you have good hip stability. Now, this is here showing that, hey, you do not want to have your leg going behind you. You want to keep it under you. Don't do it. So the main reason that you're checking your single leg balance is, think about it, every single time you're landing on one foot. So it only makes sense to check your balance on one foot. Here's how you know if you passed. You passed if you're able to repeatedly go down and touch your toe without falling over or looking like a circus act. So that should indicate that if you are looking like a circus act and cannot reach a damn toe, then that means you have poor hip stability. So keep in mind, good hip stability helps to prevent injuries at the knee, as well as it improves your performance because you have a more efficient stride. So you'll look as sexy as you're crossing that finish line. Yeah! I'm so excited, guys, to share with you guys my 4 exercises. So your first one is actually your testing exercise, the single leg squat touch. Great way to strengthen up your hip stabilizers. And here you want to focus on driving your hip through or following through with your hips. That way you get the most glute activation. Alrighty, here is a lateral bounce reach, and this one's just mimicking a single leg squat touch, but you're adding a lateral hop or side hop and reach. A lot of runners don't realize that you have a side to side component to your runs, not just a front to back. That's one of the reasons why you will have knee pains, because your legs cannot handle that side to side movement. So train it. And the third one here is the single leg bench squat. So here you want to be about an inch away from whatever bench or chair you use so that your tush does not fall flat on the ground. Have something that's about knee height or just below. And you really want to focus here on squeezing your glutes and controlling your descent so you don't just plop down. Control it on the way down. If you don't have the strength to stand back up yet, what you can do is use a little bit of momentum to throw yourself forward. The downward descent is most important in this one. And the last one is the single leg T deadlift. Now this one here, oh, look at that form. Even Jesus was like giving me a thumbs up. Yeah. All right. You want to focus on keeping your leg in line with your head so that everything is nice and parallel to the ground in the downward position. The other thing too is you want to point your toe to the ground. What tends to happen if you have your toe pointing out to the side is that one hip will get hiked up and you're actually emphasizing that instability. So you're not strengthening your hip stabilizer. So point your toe down. Finally, this is also a great way to stretch your lower back and hamstrings. All right, here I'm reviewing the 4 exercises and giving you my final recommendations. You want to be able to do 2 sets of 10 per side on every single exercise. Give yourself about a day or 2 of rest in between so that you're doing this exercise 2 to 4 times a week. Literally only takes you a few minutes to do and is a great warm-up. Now, if you are experiencing any kind of knee pains already, please be smart and go get it checked out by a professional. These exercises are a great way to keep your knee from caving inward, and it doesn't matter if you are healthy or not. What this does is it really helps you to strengthen those stabilizers so that you can increase your performance or prevent injury. And the other thing too is that this really helps you to strengthen your knees as well as your ankles as well. So it's a tri-fold benefit. So when you're crossing that finish line, everyone is envious of your great form. All right, guys, that was today's video. Wish you enjoyed that. And just keep in mind, if you are having knee pains, that's definitely 4 great exercises to be able to strengthen your hips. Again, it's the single leg toe touch squat, as well as the lateral bounds with a reach. The third one is the single leg squats with a bench, or midair if you saw me demonstrating that last one. And then afterwards, the 4th one was the single leg T RDLs or Romanian deadlifts. I post videos every Wednesdays and Fridays. Friday's video is actually going to be a continuation of today on a weightlifting exercise runners can do to strengthen their whole entire lower leg complex, specifically targeting their hip stability by strengthening their hip flexors, their inner groin. But you got to come back and check that out though. Please subscribe so you can get more great tips on how to strengthen yourself as a runner, as an athlete, and just be overall fitter so that you're not going walking all over the place with pain after you've gone for a short or long run. All right, guys, again, feel free to subscribe up here or down there and leave your comments below. Share this video. Hector Estrada-Lopez signing off.